sit down and have coffee with Josh Williams, who is the pastor of the Elm City Vineyard Church, which is a church that uses our space on Sunday afternoons. And I was excited to sit down with him because I wanted to tell him that actually when I was in college, I attended a Vineyard church. That was my church home when I was in Chicago. And I'd say I didn't agree with all of the Vineyards, and particularly that particular Vineyard church's theology was a little bit more conservative than I am. Shocker, I know. But I did leave. I told him I left for about a year after the pastor preached about how Harry Potter was dangerous because it was turning kids away from Christ and into dangerous wicked practices. So that was a sermon that didn't quite resonate with me, and so I left for about a year. Josh assured me that the Elm City Vineyard loves Harry Potter. It's a diverse group of vineyard churches. But I have to admit that even though I didn't agree with everything that they said in that church, that the people at that church loved me and they nurtured me through a lot of big transitions in my life during my time in college. And they also taught me about some beliefs and practices that I had never experienced before in Christianity. One of the unfamiliar beliefs and practices that I experienced with my friends at that church was the belief in spiritual warfare. So growing up Methodist in a mainline white Missouri church, which is where I grew up, I had honestly never heard of this thing, this spiritual warfare. But spiritual warfare was actually pretty big and pretty important and real for some of my good friends there. One of my best friends and another friend would actually go sometimes at night into some of our academic buildings at the college, and they would demand that evil spirits that inhabited those buildings would be banished in the name of Jesus Christ. And my good friend, she would describe to me this very vivid world of demonic spirits who inhabited our spaces. And she wasn't just like coming up with this stuff on her own. She wasn't just like, this wasn't her theory of the world. This is like a very important way that many Christians see the world and understand the world. Honestly, Jesus, probably saw the world that way, and so did many of our spiritual ancestors. But I grew up in the mainline white American United Methodist tradition, and we didn't talk about such things. So when I was at church, that was at the Vineyard Church, that was one of those beliefs I just kind of observed and appreciated. And then after college, I returned to my Methodist tradition and I left behind, that strange spiritual warfare stuff. And I got a job many years later with this church in New York City where I had the best job. My job was to take new people out to coffee and to hear about their fascinating lives and to answer any questions they had about the church, and then to help any who wanted to take the journey to take their membership vows in that church. It was the best job. Now, I've been hearing people take the United Methodist membership vows my entire life. So they're kind of like the Lord's Prayer to me. I know them so well that I don't really know them at all. I've heard them so many times that I don't listen to the words. But it has been my observation that in this skeptical culture, when people are joining a new church or being baptized as adults, they kind of want to know what they're committing to. So they actually read the membership vows. So I had to be able to know what the membership vows were in this job, and I had to be able to talk to people about them. When was the last time y'all read the membership vows? Some of you probably have never read them, and so I think we ought to read a few of them together. So if you turn in your hymnals to page 34, let's take a look. big red books, the hardback books. Turning to page 34. These are actually the top of page 34. These are vows that you take both at membership and in the baptism. So I wonder if maybe we could read the first question together. So can you read with me? On behalf of the whole church, I ask you, do you renounce the spiritual forces of wickedness, reject the evil powers of this world, and repent of your sins? Okay. Do you renounce the spiritual forces of wickedness? Now, those are some words you don't hear all that much in United Methodist churches that I go to often. The spiritual forces of wickedness. When I think of United Methodism, I think of potluck lunches, and I think about songs about grace sung in four-part harmony, and I think about our founder, an 18th century Anglican priest, John Wesley, made into a bubblehead version of himself. But I do not usually think about renouncing the spiritual forces of wickedness and rejecting the evil powers of this world. But it's right there in our membership vows. Let's read together that second vow. Do you accept the freedom and power God gives you to resist evil, injustice, and oppression in whatever forms they present themselves? So renounce spiritual forces, reject evil powers, resist evil. I think that's kind of what my friends were up to in those academic buildings at night. They were renouncing spiritual forces and rejecting evil powers and resisting evil in the name of Jesus Christ. It's like from the beginning of our United Methodist journey, we're committing ourselves to what sounds a lot like spiritual warfare. Put away your hymnals now. I never really thought when I was with them to ask my friends why they went into those academic buildings at night to renounce evil in the name of Jesus. I just kind of wrote it off as another thing that my weird Christian friends did. But today I wonder, I'm curious. As I sat in the standstill of traffic that was downtown New Haven on Friday, while the first year Yale College students moved into their dorms, and they saw them walking awkwardly with their parents around campus, which I remember. And I was just hit with this flood of memories about that college experience that I had, and how exciting it was, but also like how clueless I was about so many things, and how clueless we all were. How upperclassmen, I remember how upperclassmen used to use those early parties to prey on first-year girls. I remember that. And I remember how some of our professors used their early classes to prey on first-year girls. I remember that. I remember how ignorant and oblivious some of us were to each other's struggles with mental illness and with racial oppression and with sexual orientation. I remember how we were valued in that space only by how hard we worked or how hard we partied. And I remember how a bad grade or a dropped class could trigger debilitating depression for my friends. When I think back on the college experience, it makes a little bit more sense that my friends went into that academic building to renounce evil. There were spiritual forces of wickedness in my college. There were evil powers. There was evil, oppression, and injustice that needed to be resisted. And some of it, for my friends, must have been associated with that one academic building. been rejected and resisted in the name of Jesus Christ. And I think that is part of how they survived 4 years that for many of us, especially for those particular friends, were quite difficult. As I've matured in my spirituality, I actually think there's something to this idea of spiritual warfare. There's some good things about it. One thing is that it reminds us that our struggle is not against people. It's against these bigger forces, these spiritual forces that inhabit our world, forces of wickedness that possess every one of us at some time or another. Spiritual warfare is actually helpful in my life as a parent. Lately, I've been learning about this parenting theory. There's always a new theory every year. But this year's theory is emotionally responsive parenting. Has anybody ever heard of that kind of thing? Yeah, I tell parents. So I've been reading this author, Janet Lansbury. I've been perusing her website in desperate moments. And she talks about how when kids are acting out, contrary to how it comes across, their motivation is usually not just to make your life miserable. They're not premeditatively thinking, today I'm going to push all my parents' most sensitive buttons so that they feel really bad and worn down. She says instead that children who are acting out are usually just feeling some stuff that makes them lose control of their bodies. They're actually kind of in this trance, possessed by this difficult emotion that they're dealing with. Now that doesn't mean that their behavior shouldn't have consequences. But I found that it is really helpful to imagine my tantrum child as just simply possessed with a demon. Perhaps you could say possessed with a spiritual force of wickedness. Because if I can think that way, I can look at her with compassion. And I can stay more calm. I see some of you smiling because I know this has happened to you. When I don't imagine her as a demon or a possessed child, when I'm not in that mode, I really take everything that she does as very personal, and I get mad and upset. And the spiritual force of wickedness spreads and grows in me. So that's next year's theory of parenting will be spiritual warfare. Now, I do want to say that I know this spiritual warfare kind of language has been used in actually very harmful ways. It's a serious thing when you label something evil in this cosmic sense, and it's a serious thing when you use this kind of language that's a little bit violent, right? Think about war and battles. So we have to be very careful, we have to be very humble with this kind of language. When communities are trying to pray the gay away, when people try to exercise the so-called demon of homosexuality, that's not spiritual warfare, that is child abuse. And we're going to talk about that another time. We're going to talk about that a lot, but not particularly today. But I do think there is something valuable in this idea of spiritual forces of wickedness in our world. Last night we heard of the passing of Senator John McCain. Now, I certainly have expressed my fair share of criticisms of Senator McCain in my short life of being politically aware. But I was quite sad to hear the news of his loss last night. Because I do believe that Senator McCain was someone who really tried to serve the people of this nation with integrity and with courage and compassion and with principle. Some of you are my age or younger, so you may not remember this time when he was one of the most famous prisoners of war the Vietnam War. He was brutally tortured, often in solitary confinement for 5.5 years. And there was a moment I read when his captors found out that his father was quite famous, and they wanted to release him because there was too much baggage with this prisoner. And he said, I will not be released unless you release all of my friends who are here as prisoners of war. So Senator McCain, he risked his body for his principles and his values. But I wasn't around for that, John McCain. My most enduring memory of Senator McCain was in his presidential run against Barack Obama. And in that time, and continues to this day, his party's rhetoric was just full of this rampant racism. And it felt kind of like maybe our divisions were based on something that was truly evil and violent. And if many of you remember at one of his rallies, someone called out that President Obama could not be trusted because he was an Arab. Remember this moment? And Senator McCain stopped and he answered this person very politely, saying, no ma'am, he's a decent family man, a citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues. Last night, President Obama released a statement about Senator McCain's death, and he said, John McCain and I were members of different generations, came from completely different backgrounds, and competed at the highest level of politics, but we shared, for all of our differences, a fidelity to something higher. The ideals for which generations of Americans and immigrants alike have fought, marched, and sacrificed. We saw our political battles even as a privilege, something noble, an opportunity to serve as stewards of those high ideals at home and to advance them around the world. Now, in a nation where it feels like our disagreements get more and more personal every day, right? Where it feels like there are individuals that one or the other side labels as evil. On his best days, Senator McCain reminded us of the words of Ephesians, that our struggle is not against enemies of blood and flesh, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Our struggles are not against enemies of blood and flesh. Many of us progressives think, and I know it's gone through your heads, it's gone through mine. Oh, if we just get Donald Trump out of office, our nation can get back on the right track. But whatever you believe, Donald Trump is not the enemy. The enemy is white supremacy. The enemy is patriarchy. The enemy is that demonic notion that people's situation of birth somehow entitles some to take everything and some to suffer displacement and poverty. The enemy is the evil, injustice, and oppression that presents itself in so many wacky forms. If you take this one guy out of the equation, those spiritual forces of wickedness will still be with us. They exist within every one of us. The spiritual forces of wickedness are around us. They are all in us. They are strong forces that have been around for a long time and that will be around for a long time. Now, it's hard to lose Senator McCain in this particular moment because there was this decency to him and a life truly lived in real sacrifice and service to the American people. And all of these are qualities that we are missing so much these days in our political leaders. So it's tempting to wonder if on this morning, if Senator McCain's death signals the slow death of those qualities in American democracy. then you must remember that a spirit of goodness and righteousness and empathy is not something that Senator McCain possessed. No, instead, on his best days, that spirit possessed him. And even this morning, that spirit is alive and well in the world. There are powers and principalities, oppressive forces, systems of harm, spiritual forces of wickedness that no one person is responsible for, that no flesh and blood embodies, but there is another spirit. The spiritual forces of love, justice, and courage that do not exist in any one single person, but that are always somewhere present in every person. And I have seen that spirit move. I have seen miracles. I have seen the world change. I have seen my world change because of that spirit, that Holy Spirit. And that spirit is powerful. It is moving, and it is not dependent on our flesh and blood, but instead, it invites us every day into that sacred struggle, that righteous fight for love and truth, that spiritual war whose first and last battle takes place right here in our own hearts, and then in our homes, and then in our communities, and in our world. May our hearts be possessed with that great, powerful spirit.